Have you ever heard of a battle so devastating it made an emperor scream in his palace, "Give me back my legions"? This is the story of the Teutoburg Forest, a tale of ambition, betrayal, and a clash of civilizations that would forever change the course of European history. Picture the Roman Empire in the year 09 AD, under the reign of Emperor Augustus. Rome was at the zenith of its power. Its borders stretched from the sands of Syria to the shores of Britain. The Roman legions, the most formidable fighting force the world had ever seen, seemed invincible. They were disciplined, heavily armed, and masters of engineering and warfare. Wherever they marched, they brought Roman law, Roman roads, and Roman rule. Their next target, the vast untamed lands of Germania, east of the Rhine River. The man tasked with this conquest was Publius Quinctilius Varus, a seasoned politician and administrator. Varus had successfully governed other provinces. He was confident, perhaps overly so. He believed he could pacify the Germanic tribes just as he had others, through a combination of military presence and Romanization. He established summer camps deep within Germania, collected taxes and imposed Roman laws, assuming the tribes would eventually fall in line. But he made a critical misjudgment, underestimated the fierce independence of the Germanic people, and more importantly, he misplaced his trust in one man. He is the central figure in this drama, a man caught between two worlds. Born a prince of the Carusi tribe, Arminius and his brother were taken to Rome as noble hostages in their youth. But this wasn't a prison sentence. It was a Roman strategy to assimilate the future leaders of conquered peoples. Arminius received a full Roman education, learned Latin, and served in the Roman military. He excelled, earning Roman citizenship and the rank of equestriana, high honor for a non-Roman. He fought alongside the legions, learned their tactics, their strengths, and their weaknesses. To Varus and the other Romans, Arminius was a success story, a civilized German, a loyal ally who could bridge the gap between Rome and his own people. They called him by his Romanized name, Arminius. His birth name was likely something like Ermin. But beneath this veneer of loyalty, a different fire was burning. Arminius saw the growing discontent among his people, who chafed under Roman taxes and laws that clashed with their ancient traditions. He saw Rome not as a civilizing force, but as an oppressor. And he began to plot. Using his trusted position, Arminius spun a web of deception. He secretly united several rival Germanic tribes, a feat that was in itself remarkable given their history of infighting. He convinced them that only through a united front could they drive the Romans out. His plan was audacious and relied on perfect timing and geography. He needed to lure the mighty Roman legions away from their fortified positions and into a battlefield of his choosing. As the summer of 09 AD drew to a close, Varus was preparing to march his three legions, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, along with auxiliary troops and camp followers, totaling around 20,000 people back to their winter quarters on the Rhine. This was a massive, slow-moving column stretching for miles. Just as they were about to depart, Arminius sprang his trap. He fed Varus false intelligence reports of a localized rebellion in a remote area. He argued that a small detour would be necessary to quickly crush the uprising and assert Roman authority once and for all. It was a perfect piece of bait. Varus, trusting his loyal German officer, took it, diverted his entire army from the known, safer route, and marched them into the unknown, heading straight for the Teutoburg Forest. The name in German is Teutoburger Wald. The Teutoburg Forest was a nightmare for a Roman army. It was not the open-field battlefield where their formations and discipline excelled. It was a dense, dark, and swampy wilderness. Ancient trees blocked out the sun, narrow paths turned to mud, and the terrain was a confusing maze of hills and marshes. To make matters worse, a torrential storm broke out. Heavy rain turned the ground into a quagmire, soaking the Romans' leather shields until they were heavy and useless, and making their bowstrings slack. The long column of soldiers, baggage carts, women, and children became stretched out and disorganized over miles of treacherous track. They were completely vulnerable. This was the moment Arminius had been waiting for. Suddenly, from the woods on all sides, the Germanic warriors attacked. They didn't form lines or engage in pitched battle. They used guerrilla tactics, perfectly suited to the terrain. They would hurl javelins from the cover of the trees, rush out to strike at isolated groups of soldiers, and then melt back into the forest. The Romans, trapped on the narrow, muddy path, could not form their classic battle formations. Their cavalry was useless in the dense woods. The legionaries were fighting an invisible enemy that struck from everywhere and nowhere. The element of surprise was total, and the psychological impact was devastating. For 3 days, the slaughter continued. Varus tried to rally his men, attempting to build a fortified camp at night, but the relentless attacks and the hellish weather gave them no respite. The Roman column was a slow-moving trail of death and desperation. Realizing the situation was hopeless and facing the dishonor of capture, Varus and his senior officers fell on their swords, choosing suicide over being taken by the barbarians. With their leadership gone, the remaining resistance collapsed. What followed was a massacre. The Germanic tribes showed no mercy. Some Romans were killed on the spot, others were captured and sacrificed to the Germanic gods in sacred groves. The legions prized golden eagles, their sacred standards were captured, the ultimate humiliation for a Roman army. Of the more than 20,000 people who entered the forest, only a handful escaped to tell the tale. The 17th, 18th, and 19th legions were completely wiped from existence. Their numbers were never used again by the Roman army, a permanent scar on its military roster. Back in Rome, when the news of the disaster finally arrived, the city was thrown into a state of panic. The people feared a Germanic invasion of Italy itself. The Emperor Augustus, now an old man, was plunged into despair. The loss of 3 entire legions and a trusted general was a blow he had never anticipated. The historian Suetonius tells us that for months, Augustus would bang his head against the door of his palace, repeatedly crying out, "Quinctilius Varus, give me back my legions." The aftermath was profound. Rome would launch several punitive campaigns into Germania, led by the brilliant general Germanicus. He would inflict defeats on the tribes, recover 2 of the lost eagle standards, and even find the site of the battle, burying the sun-bleached bones of his fallen comrades. But he never managed to subdue Arminius or reconquer the territory. The Battle of the Teutoburg Forest had shattered the myth of Roman invincibility. It marked a crucial turning point. The Romans, chastened by the disaster, largely abandoned their ambitions of conquering Germania east of the Rhine. The river became the de facto border of the empire for the next 400 years. This decision had massive long-term consequences. Because Germania never became Romanized, the Germanic languages, cultures, and legal systems were able to develop independently. This separation created the fundamental cultural and political divide between the Latin-based cultures of France, Spain, and Italy, and the Germanic-based cultures of Germany, the Netherlands, and England that would shape the map of Europe for centuries to come. Arminius, the traitor in Roman eyes, became a national hero in Germany centuries later, a symbol of German unity and resistance against foreign domination. His story is a powerful reminder that history is often written by the victors, but the echoes of the defeated can sometimes ring louder through the ages. It's a testament to how one man's strategic genius and one fateful decision to trust the wrong person can alter the destiny of an empire and shape the world we live in today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe for more epic tales from history, and let me know in the comments what battle you'd like to see covered next. See you in the next video.